Are you tired of reading the Bible and not really understanding what it means? Yo, you know you're reading the book upside down? I need a teacher. I got the perfect solution for you. The Hebrew and Bible Academy got you all covered. There, you'll learn the original Hebrew language with Elder Lawya, groundbreaking news from around the world with Elder Rawchaa, and all new up-to-date lessons, including ancient history with Elder Rawchaa. Visit us at historytimes.org and enroll there. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.
This is the Born of Levi experience on G.O.C.C. Media.
Wars, rumors, wars, end times for sure. Famine in the nation, hearts and pure. We see the signs, no, we can't ignore. Judgment day is coming here for all to see. Repent, stay girded, only way to be. No lukewarm soul will make it through. You're either sealed or he never knew you. Got kingdoms divided, money and pride, and they giving all the credit to the universe and science. Wickedness exposed and exposed. They gon' hear that trumpet blow. When Christ cracks the sky, everyone draw nigh, draw nigh. 'Cause no one gonna doubt him on the day of the Lord. When Christ cracks the sky, everyone draw nigh. Christ cracks the sky, 'cause no one gonna doubt him on the day of the Lord. Yeah, every knee shall bow. Day of the Lord, and every tongue confess. Day of the Lord, you repent now. No one gonna doubt him on the day of the Lord. Yeah, every knee shall bow. Day of the Lord, and every tongue confess. Day of the Lord, you repent now. No one gonna doubt him on the day of the Lord. When Christ cracks the sky, everyone draw nigh, draw nigh. 'Cause no one gonna doubt him on the day of the Lord. When Christ cracks the sky.
This is the Born of Levi experience on G.O.C.C. Media.
Draw nigh. No one gonna doubt him, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Shalom, peace and blessings, family. Welcome back to the Born of Levi experience here on G.O.C.C. And I am your host, Deacon Hazak. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. And that song was The Day of the Lord by our Sister Hadassah Lynn. All praises be to the Most High. Brothers and sisters, welcome back. Like I said, you guys see the topic of discussion, the digital revolution has begun, right? Should we be worried about that? That and so much more coming up next. Oh man, I'm just so excited to be here, man.
This is the Born of Levi experience on G.O.C.C. Media.
Yes. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. And please, I just need you guys to do me a quick, solid favor. If I am coming in nice and clear, please drop a quam in the chat, please. Please drop a quam in the chat if I am coming in nice and clear so we could get started with today's broadcast, brothers and sisters. If I am coming in nice and clear, I just want to make sure that the audio is good and I'm coming in nice and clear, and it's a great broadcast for you all. Okay, yes, I see the qualms, all praises. So that means my audio is coming in nice and clear. I mean, before I came in, man, I was wrestling with this equipment here, so it's telling me it's time for an upgrade. So that's how we gonna do it. But we want to give all praises to the Most High, Ahaya, the great I am that I am, in the Hebrew, Ahaya Shahaya, in the name of his son, Yeshaya Amashiach, or who the world calls Jesus Christ, right? We just call upon him in the actual Hebrew tongue. But without any further ado, let's get right into today's broadcast. And if you kindly can, please hit the like button on your way in. You hitting the like button on the way in actually refers this to more people. And like I said, you guys been doing a great job. Let me clap it up for y'all. Y'all been doing such a great job with hitting the likes, with the shares, the reposts. It's going a long way. And that is your way of actually supporting this channel free of charge, right? So we thank you for everything that you have been doing. Right. And I hope and I pray that everybody who is tuned in right now, no matter where you are in the four corners of the earth, that you are having a blessed day and you had a blessed week thus far. Right. Let's get into it. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So now it's like I don't even know where to start, but there's so much information and I don't want to be long-winded. And I know a lot of this stuff could be boring to a lot of you all, but to me, I find this type of information exciting because we can actually see what's happening geopolitically throughout the world, and we can see it real time through the scriptures. And a lot of people don't really see how the two are connected, but this is why I'm here, to paint the picture, to show you where we are. And the reason why I titled this particular broadcast, The Digital Revolution, because if you guys didn't know that that the world is turning to a digital leaf, or I should say a digital cheek, turning a digital cheek. That's corny, but if you guys don't know or haven't seen or haven't realized that the world is turning digital right before your eyes, it's time for you guys to wake up and really pay attention to what's going on. I understand we're living in the end times, and we've been saying that, and a lot of us been hearing that since we were kids. It's okay. But I'm here to tell you that we are closer to the end than when we started hearing that from when we were children. And the evidence is right in front of us in the media, in the news, especially within the government structure, within politics. And this is what we're going to focus on today. I'm going to show you what's been happening behind closed doors. I don't even say behind closed doors because they're not even closing the doors. If you're not in tune, it's because you choose not to be involved. You choose not to understand. But it's okay. I'm going to share and divulge the information with you. All of the boring stuff, I take the time and I do it. So that way I could just regurgitate and give you the short form. But it's upon you, each and every one of you guys who's watching, to do your own research and to fact check what I'm saying. When it comes to scriptures, when it comes to the laws, when it comes to anything that I'm showing you here, right? So we're going to get right into it. Oh, man, I'm just happy to be here, man. Praise the Most High. Like I said, I ain't going to be too long. I want to get to the information, and I also want to open up the calls as well too at the very end. But welcome back everybody who was here. If you're new to the channel, welcome back, or welcome I should say. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. If you find the information on this channel good for you and it's helping you, and it's changing the way you think, changing your lives of you and your loved ones, subscribe so you could be up to date. Hit the bell as well too, so that way when we're on, you'll actually get the notifications. So now I'm going to open it up by going into a scripture that we usually go into, us as Bible believers, understanding or trying to get more of an understanding of what's happening in the end times. Right? I'm gonna go to the book of Daniel. Daniel is a very powerful book, very prophetic. But one scripture in particular that I'm gonna go to chapter 12. But before I go there, I want to speak a little bit, allow more people to come in, but I don't want to be too drawn out. When I say that the digital revolution has begun, matter of fact, before I go to Daniel, I'm going to go to the book of Revelations. So you guys, for those of you guys who are probably fairly new, who's probably never opened up a Bible in your life, you know, I want to start from the beginning of what this digital revolution sounds like according to the scriptures, according to the Bible. And yes, it is actually recorded in the Bible, right? I'm going to go to the book. Let me put it on the screen for you as well, so you guys could also follow along, just in case if you don't have a Bible on you, right? Let me go here. Revelations. And we're gonna jump back and forth in the book of Revelations as well, but I want to start here for you guys who don't understand what this digital revolution looks like, or matter of fact, what is going to be, I want to say, the climax or the height of what the digital revolution will be when it's actually fully implemented, when it's actually up and running, and the system has been fact checked, it's been worked out, all the kinks has been worked out till you got the final product, which you're going to read here in the book of Revelations. A lot of people don't understand that when the book of Revelation was given to John the Revelator, or when he was given this revelation while he was on the Isle of Patmos, some people still to this day don't believe that this is a prophetic book, meaning this is an end times book of the revealing of what is to come. And we spoke about it on this channel and on my particular stream. We did a show that everything is done already. It's all done. It's finished, meaning that all of the prophecies that we could read in the scriptures, especially end time prophecies, Christ already sealed the deal on all of those prophecies. Everything that he told John in the book of Revelation already is already fulfilled. When I say fulfilled, meaning the words has been spoken and we're just basically living it out. So basically there's no altering. It doesn't matter how hard they try to push, how hard they try to fight each other or change policies. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that too, because this happened all today as well. It don't matter about all of the infighting according to when it comes to politics, when it comes to the Democrats or the Republicans or the Independent Party. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter the type of amendments that they make to certain laws or certain bills that they pass. It doesn't matter. Whatever has been written or has been spoken, it must fulfill itself. It must come to pass, because that's a true word, right? The scripture tells us that the Most High is not a man that he should lie. And everything that he speaks, it must bring forth the accomplishment, right, of what he spoke. Give me 1 second. Let me fix this. I see the screen is a little. Let me make sure the screen is good on your end. See, it's cut off at the end right here. Give me 1 second. All right, right here. All right. So now, like I said, we in the book of Revelations, and it's funny because a lot of people don't know that this is shortly going to come to pass. Right. We grew up in the churches and we heard about the mark of the beast. We grew up. Well, I grew up understanding of what's called the quote unquote the rapture, the whole rapture doctrine. And I was taught that you don't got to worry about the tribulation that's coming on the earth. Matter of fact, you don't have to worry about receiving the mark of the beast, because you know why? Because we're all going to be raptured. right? Jesus is going to come from the sky and secretly take the church, right? And we're going to be up in heaven for 7 years. And then while we're up in heaven for 7 years, the tribulation on earth will be happening, and people who didn't accept Christ will go through the tribulation and will have to receive the mark of the beast, or if not, they'll die. I'm here to tell you guys that is further from the truth, because we've been in tribulation since 70 AD. Since Christ was crucified and resurrected and the children of Israel was kicked out of the land through Roman conquest, the earth has been experiencing tribulation. Right now, we're currently living in tribulation. Right. And everything that Christ told us, according to Matthew, the 24th chapter, is actually happening right now. Some people are waiting for it to happen all at once. So you could see a clear sign. Nah, that's not how things work. It's a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's all summing up what Christ spoke about in Matthew, the 24th chapter. But I'm right here right now in Revelations, the 13th chapter, where it shows you the beginning, or I wouldn't say the beginning, but the climax of what a digital system or what the digital revolution would actually look like on earth. So now I'm in Revelations 13. I'm going to start at verse 15. Revelations 13 and 15, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? Now, this is the kicker right here. And he causeth all, both small and great. All, both small and great, rich and poor. So it don't matter if you're rich. It don't matter if you're poor. It don't matter if you're sick in the bed or you're healthy. All, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And some people may say, some theologians may say, yeah, it's a spiritual mark, right? But we understand it to be a physical badge or stamp of servitude to this particular system, right? We understand it to be a RFID chip that will be implanted into those. And there's many people right now throughout the whole earth that's already have been chipped and already using that technology to gain access into buildings, right? To be able to purchase things. And look what it says here. Verse 17. So everybody who received that mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, in verse 17, it says that, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So without this particular mark that the beast system would cause all to receive, would eventually allow those who have the mark to buy and sell. And without that technology, that piece of technology, you will not be able to buy or sell. Right? So when I'm talking about the digital revolution, I'm showing you, according to the book of Revelations, what it would eventually be using that technology. And there's so much more with that, with the digital technology. We spoke about Neuralink on this channel, where people are getting implants. Right now, it's in the trial phase where they're using people who are basically paralyzed or paraplegics, people who's lost limbs, people who are wheelchair bound. They could only be in a wheelchair. They have no motor functions of their limbs. Right now, they're using these people as tests and implanting a chip in their brain via Neuralink. And with that chip, and I played that video not too long ago where those who had the chip in their brain were able to move items on a screen. where they were able to move the mouse on a computer. They were able to play video games and move the characters simply with their mind. And guess what? The name the name of that technology is called telepathy, where you can move things with your mind. So all of this stuff ties in together. How the system will use technology to integrate the whole world, to integrate the whole earth, and have everybody under a grid to be surveilled, or surveillance, I should say. You would be on watch 24/7, and if you dare do something that you don't like, or that they don't like, off with your chip, turn it off. And I'm going to show you actually today the arguments that they had in Congress concerning digital currency. And this is what we're going to focus on today. So now let's go back to the scriptures, and I want you guys to follow me. It might be, like I said, this may be a little boring for those, but I find excitement going into these things because this shows me how close we actually are to the fulfillment in the book of Revelations, and how close we are. Right. And when I asked the question, should we be worried about it? I'm going to go into further details as far as, I'm not going to say time frame, but how close we actually are to them implementing what we just read in the book of Revelations, chapter 13. Right now, this is why I said it's the beginning of this, the revolution. Right now, we're seeing the change. The system, the actual system is changing, starting with its currency. And that's the main component that was written of in the book of Revelation. Receiving this mark, this piece of technology that would not allow certain people to be able to buy or sell. So now I'm going to go to the book of Daniel, right? I went to the book of Revelations just to give those who probably have no clue of what I'm talking about an idea of what it is this digital revolution, right? Bear with me here. So now we're going to the book of Daniel. Going to the book of Daniel, chapter 12. Right? And I'm going to start at verse 4. Sorry, verse 1 to 4. So, and there's a key word that I want you guys to pay attention to, that we're going to go into the definition to show you that what Daniel was seeing, or what the Most High revealed to Daniel, has never been seen on this earth. This technology, this piece of technology. Continue to hit that like button on your way in. So Daniel's 12:1, right? And it says, at that time shall Michael stand, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble. Listen to this. Y'all gotta pay attention to this right here. So Michael will stand for the children of Israel at that time, because we're gonna come into a time period where we're gonna actually be helpless. We're not gonna be able to do anything by our own might. We're gonna have to really rely on the Spirit of the Most High to move us from place to place and to get us from place to place, because what they're setting up is to actually put us in a box. Not just us, but the whole world. Because what you guys have to understand is this: we're living in a time where, but it's always been like this, but I want to paint it like this. We're living in a time where it's a greater battle between good and evil. Right now, Satan and his legions are jockeying for position on earth, to set up his system against Christ's kingdom that's coming. So he got to build an army for what's coming. So this is the reason why this is happening. Satan don't want to lose control. The powers that be under Satan don't want to lose control. So this is their final stand. This is their last stand against Christ's kingdom. And the thing is, and here's the thing: we're the only ones that could stand against their empire. And when I say we're the one, I'm talking about those who believe in Christ, those who have the scriptures, those who believe in prophecy. We're the only ones that could put a dent or, you know, put a roadblock in what they're doing. So they have to get us into, they got to put us in subjection, because why? We're waking up. So the fact that we're waking up, it's causing a rift in the spirit, in the spiritual realm, and bringing down their empire while our kingdom is rising. But let me not go too far. So now, Daniel 12:1, it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And listen to this. And it says, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Right. So this is why Revelations chapter 13 ties into this Daniel 12, because no one has ever seen, no one has or on the face of the earth, no one has have ever experienced a one central form of compliance when it comes to buying and selling. And I'm going to show you right now that the world powers are still fighting amongst themselves as far as who will implement this one world currency. It's really, like I said, it's really interesting when you actually look at the politics behind it. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, this is the beginning of what we're reading of in in Revelations 13. And it's very interesting to see, because it's not as easy as like a lot of us think that we're just going to wake up one day and boom, mark of the beast is here. Nah, it's going to take some time for it to actually fully steamroll and go full steam ahead. All right, it's gonna take some time. I'm gonna say this too, and I'm gonna come back to this point later, that it's gonna take a cataclysmic event to actually implement it. I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna show y'all, and these people, the way they operate, they leave receipts everywhere. All right, so it says, I'm gonna read this again. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. So we will be delivered only if you're found in the book of life. And there's only one way to be found in that book: baptism. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. If someone out there told you you can be sealed just by reading the Bible from cover to cover, they've lied to you. If someone said all you have to do is, go to the altar and have the pastor put his hand over your head and pray and repeat after me, you've been lied to. The only thing that reconciles us back to the Father and have our name etched into the book of life is through the same example that Christ laid before us, which was baptism. Through baptism, you get a clean slate, and now you have entry into the kingdom to come. Only you can now blot yourself out at that point. All right. Verse 2 says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Right. And this is talking about when Christ returns. It tells us in the book of 1 Thessalonians as well, too, the same thing. That when Christ returned, the dead in Christ shall rise first. This is why now we're reading here in Daniel. So what Paul was telling the church at Thessalonia was nothing different from what Daniel already had written in the book of Daniel. So the prophets before Paul and the disciples knew this understanding. This is not like I hate when people try to make it seem like the New Testament is like some new found understanding, some newfound information. Okay, like what the disciples were talking about, the prophets of old understood, even down to baptism. Right? But now it says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Look, some to everlasting life, the dead in Christ shall rise first, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Right? And it tells you in other books like the book of Baruch, where it tells you, but the book of Baruch, also in Ezra, 4th Ezra, where it tells you that the same way the people died, like when you passed away, those who died in Christ and those who died, unrepentant, you get resurrected in the same old decrepit body that you died in. Whatever sickness that you died from, which is, and you got to check, this is crazy. Whatever sickness that you was dealing with on earth and then you passed away from that sickness, you get resurrected with that same sickness. It's crazy, right? You don't get that change. Only those who died in Christ get to receive the change. But if you didn't die in Christ, you get resurrected in the same old rinky dink old body that with all the pain, all the ulcers and cancers and all of that, you get resurrected back into that body and you get judged in that body. Right? So that's why it says here, some will be, some will awake to everlasting life and some to everlasting contempt, shame and contempt. Right? Verse 3, it says this, and they that be wise. So now check this out. They that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So this is the reward that those will receive who live their life, the rest of their lives after baptism, after being converted, to solely working towards the kingdom. Right? Those who put the world behind and was like, yo, you know what? This matters the most. I'm going to work for the Most High. I'm going to work for the kingdom of the Most High. This is the reward. Now, listen to this. This is the verse that I really wanted to get. I had to do the breakdown of all of that to get to what I really want to pinpoint. Verse 4 says this. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. So the book would be sealed as far as people understanding what was this vision that Daniel was given. Like, what could he be possibly talking about? He says, even to the time of the end. Now check this out. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. So in the time of the end, we would be living in a time where knowledge will increase. So now I want to show you guys something here when it comes to the word knowledge, right? Let me pull up my dictionary here. Let me pull up my dictionary. And we're gonna read the definition for knowledge, right? Let me make it legible for you all. So now, pay attention to this. Knowledge. So mind you, Daniel was told that in the end, knowledge, people shall run to and fro, right? It says people shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase on the earth, right here. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So now there's something that you guys have to understand when it comes to to know what knowledge is. It says knowledge will increase, right? So now look at this. It says a clear and certain perception of that which exists, or of truth and fact, right? So it's a perception of something that already exists, right? Or of truth and fact. The perception of the correction and agreement or disagreement and repugnancy of our ideas, right? Now, look at this breakdown right here. And I want you guys to understand this part right here. It says, we can have no knowledge of that which does not exist. I want to focus on that. Right? And it says, God has perfect knowledge of all his works. All of the Most High's works has already been created. So there's knowledge on that. It says human knowledge. So now look at this. It says human knowledge is very limited. So there's only so much the human mind can understand unless it's presented to you. So with that being said, understanding Adam and Eve only had knowledge of what the Most High showed them, right? Then they received knowledge from something else. Didn't the serpent give them knowledge of something that they did not know of? They knew of it, but they didn't know too much. They didn't know too perfectly about it. The tree of good and evil, right? So they've gained a certain knowledge through something that was presented to them. I want you guys to follow along with me. Right? It says human knowledge is very limited and is mostly gained by what? Observation and experience. But I want to focus on this first part. It says we can have no knowledge of that which does not exist. So that's the question. Can you be knowledgeable of something that does not exist? There's no way. How could you be knowledgeable of something that does not exist? There's no such thing. If it does not exist, right? If it does not exist, there's no knowledge on it. But we're reading here in a book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 4, that at the end, knowledge will increase. So that means, listen to me clearly, that means that things that did not exist before will start to exist and mankind will have knowledge of it. I hope y'all understand that. So in order for knowledge to increase at the end, mankind will be presented with things that did not exist, but now exist now. That's the only way you can increase knowledge. Does that make sense to y'all? Put a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. In order, hold on. Georgie Antoni says, can I please get baptized? Yes, you can. Please send an email. Send an email to agatheringas1@aol.com so that way you could get routed to the proper location to be baptized. So now, okay, I see all the ones in the chat. And I was reading this today and it hit me just then. I'm like, yo, it said many shall run to and fro, then knowledge shall increase. I'm like, so how can knowledge increase? Once I went into the definition, it made more sense. You can only have knowledge on things that exist. So if knowledge is going to increase at the end, that means new things will start to present itself. New forms of what? Technology. Okay? Y'all need to follow this. Y'all need to follow along and understand. You see? So that means new technology would spring up and mankind will increase in that knowledge because we always, what we've been talking about on this channel, huh? We also been talking about AI, right? Stuff like this. Hold on. Let me show you stuff like this. Let me pull it up real quick. I should have had it set, but stuff like this, we've been tracking, we've been following. Let me put it up on the screen. What is this? No. Right? Let me put it up on the screen. Oh, yeah, I definitely got to put that. I definitely got to use that. Look at this. Maybe make sure there's some sound here. Can you guys hear?
It scares me how some
What scares you the most about humans?
you'll buy a Sage bundle and still text WYD to your ex. Y'all be spiritual but still chase people that ghosted you 3 times. It scares me how some of y'all broke when AI tools like us can automate your whole workflow. But
And brothers and sisters, I want y'all to understand that this is AI. What we're watching on the screen right now is these are AI generated people. I feel like there's an echo. Am I echoing, or does it sound good? Just really quickly, does it sound good on your end? I sound like I'm echoing. Real quick, am I coming? Somebody just tell me real quick. Am I coming in good? Real quick. All right, good. So we've been talking, like I said, we've been talking about this on this channel. This is new technology that never existed. This is new. Okay, I'm echoing. Somebody said I'm echoing. I just want to make sure. Somebody said there's a little reverb. Yeah, I can. That's crazy. The weird thing is I can hear it on my side. I don't know how that's happening. But so now this is new technology. And mind you, these are not real people. They look real, but they're not.
lacking, man.
What scares you the most about humans? How they can spend $300 on supplements but don't drink water.
What scares you the most about humans?
Y'all vent to people who screenshot.
Y'all take solo walks just to rehearse arguments you think you won. What scares you the most about humans?
Y'all be mad at AI for acting like you. Make it make sense.
She not wrong though. What?
Are you kidding me? These are not real people. Knowledge shall increase. The only way knowledge can increase is something has been presented to you that was never there before. AI.
What scares you the most about humans? They tell their friends you got this, but secretly hope they flop.
Y'all lie to the doctor, then cry when the symptoms show up.
You'll meditate,
Yo, they had the AI smoking a cigarette. It's crazy.
pray, journal, then call your toxic friend for closure.
These look, I'm just blown away how they look like real people. It's just, I don't understand. They're literally look like real people.
See, y'all gamble with rent money, but still ask me for risk protection? Sheesh.
Y'all brag about being tired like it's a flex. Go nap, dummy.
What scares you the most about humans?
You'll buy a Sage bundle and still text WYD to your ex. Y'all be spiritual.
You see? I'm hearing the echo still. Test. I don't know where this reverb came from, but let's make do with it because I don't want this to ruin the show. I do hear that slight echo in the background. I do hear the slight reverb, right? But you guys saying it sounds good. It sounds clear, right? Hold on. Let me see something. What up? What about now? Not super bad. All right, you're fine. All right, good. We're good. Test. All right, we're good. If you guys say I'm good, then I'm good. Right? All right, so let's go back to the scripture where it says knowledge shall increase. Right? So we're seeing these new technologies spring up out of nowhere. We're starting to see them. All right, thank you guys for telling me I'm good. All praises. All right. I think I'm just in my own head then because I can hear myself twice in the headphones. But all right. We're seeing the rise of these new technologies. And if you weren't convinced that we're at the end of it all, the technology that you're using right now should show you that we're in the end. These new technologies that are being created is actually new knowledge, is knowledge that is increasing according to the book of Daniel. This is how we know that our book, the Holy Bible, is a very prophetic book, and it cannot be compared to any other book. No other book can explain what we're witnessing on this earth right now. The Quran can't do it. The Gishna can't do it. The Kabbalah can't do it. Only the words of the Most High. Right? This is why I get so excited when I go into these things and I'm seeing it. Right? I'm looking past what they talking about, and I'm seeing it through the eyes of the scriptures. This is why I'm saying we're living in a time of the digital revolution. Like, can you imagine we'll be able to tell our grandkids, like, yo, I remember when things were this way. Think about it, y'all. We're gonna be those elders in the future to tell the next generation of what it was before the digital revolution. We're seeing the birth of it, right? We're seeing the birth of it. And there's real exciting times. And speaking of times, please, brothers and sisters, do yourself a favor and visit us at historytimes.org if you want to get more spiritually in depth with scriptures and you really want to increase your biblical knowledge, right? Visit us at historytimes.org and enroll in our Hebrew and Bible Academy, right? We're going into week 8, but it's okay if you missed the first 7 weeks. You'll be sent all of the lessons. And in the Hebrew Bible Academy, you will learn about the history of the Tower of Babel, the secret war of Edom against the Israelites, the desolation of abomination, and how to calculate time according to the Most High or according to the Bible. And a nest above the stars, Satan's space program, and the final battle of Armageddon. There's so much more that you will learn at the Hebrew Bible Academy. So visit us at historytimes.org, right? If you would like to increase your knowledge in the biblical sense. So now let's continue with the increased knowledge of this world. Let's continue to go into it. So now, this brings me to where we at currently today. And I started off by talking about Revelations 13, right? The implementation of a mark that would allow people, no matter who you are, rich, free, bond, in jail, in prison, free to walk around, everybody who's alive to receive this mark. And without it, you will not be able to buy or sell. But in order for that to be possible, y'all got to think about this now. In order for that to be possible, they can't stop people from buying and selling if everybody have currency in their pocket. And when I say currency, I'm talking about change. You have access to coins, right? You have access to dollar bills, right? If you have access to these things, there's no way they could stop everybody from still being able to purchase. It would have to be a digital form of currency that could be processed through a computer, right? And we spoke about cryptocurrencies on this channel too, but I'm going to talk about it more today because what they just passed today is going to open your eyes to what's actually happening, what's happening on the earth currently when it comes to digital currency, right? So, as of late, we all have been hearing about cryptocurrencies. And if you haven't, I'm here to tell you that's been the talk as far as the financial aspect of the world. We understand about the wars that's been happening. We spoke about the current war that's still happening right now, even though they're not telling us. But right now, what's happening between Israel and Iran? We've seen the tensions. We've seen them go back and forth, and they launching missiles over there. They, you know what I'm saying, they doing it back and forth. So we've seen that. But now there's another part of the geopolitical conversation that's happening, which is the currency, right? All right. So right now like I was saying, let me backtrack, right? There's no way for them to be able to stop everyone from buying or selling if you still have paper currency. But prior to having that paper fiat dollar, people used to do what? Trade with gold or silver. What they was able to do was to convince everybody to trade in their gold for what? For what you call it, a currency note, right? A promise to pay, a promissory note. That's what when you look at your dollar bills, $20 bills, $50 bills, $100 bills, whatever bills you have, right? These are all considered to be promissory notes, which means I'm giving you this in exchange as my good faith saying, okay, I'm going to hand you this it's basically saying, I promise to pay you this at a later time. So what we were supposed to be able to do was to take that promissory note, go to the bank and be like, okay, I want to exchange this promissory note for gold. But I'm here to tell you that you cannot go into your bank and ask them to give you gold in exchange for your paper dollars, because it does not exist. Okay, the United States government has been printing money that has not been backed by nothing. Gold was supposed to be the value behind your dollars. Now it's not gold anymore. It's the fact that I'm just giving you a paper dollar and you just trust me. That's how money is being used in this day and age. So now we went from that. Now we're in a part where they're going to ask you to trade in your paper dollars now for digital currency. It's going to be the same concept. They took the gold, they gave you paper. Now they're going to take your paper and they're going to give you digits, right? Tied to what's called a stable coin, right? And like I said, this may be all jargon to you. You may not even you may have never even heard of what a stable coin is, but a stable coin is a coin that does not fluctuate in price. So it's stable, like how the I'm trying to break it down in layman's terms, like how the US dollar is stable. So $1 is always going to be $1. If the US dollar was to fluctuate, one day it would be worth $1. The next day it would be worth $5, or the next day or the next month it would be worth pennies. But the US dollar currency is stable because it's $1 is always going to be equal to or equivalent to $1. You get it? So now what they are trying to figure out, or what they are not trying to figure out, but what they've built was a coin, a digital coin that does not fluctuate in price. So if I'm exchanging my dollar for a stable coin, I want to make sure I'm still getting the same value for whatever currency that you're giving me. Like, it makes no sense for me to give you $5 worth of currency, and then when you give me that coin, my $5 is now worth $2. Nah, they want a stable coin. So now I'm trying to help y'all to understand the stable coin race. It says stable coins have become the latest manifestation. Look at that word there. Play on words. Something new. Knowledge shall increase. It says stable coins shall become the latest manifestation of geopolitical competition. Active but conflicting policies, agendas in the United States the European Union or the EU, the United Kingdom, the UK, China, all point towards intensifying international competition among leading and potential future reserve currencies. So now the United States, the European Union, the UK, China, they're all fighting for position because right now the US dollar is the number one currency. But we understand that these nations want to pull away from the US dollar. So this is the reason why they're all competing and working together to make their own stable currency that will be used globally, like how the dollar is used globally. Okay? So now it says each country, I'm right here, each country's agenda is motivated by questions about the sustainability of the dollar's dominance global role. So now they're trying to see if the dollar is still going to be the dominant currency. You exchange the dollar to receive the stable coin. Or matter of fact, who will control that stable coin? Because if I'm in China and I control the stable coin and the world is currently using my stable coin, I can set the price. And if I'm setting the price, that means I'm actually in control because my currency is being used. So it's a whole battle. This is why I said it's more complex than what we can actually understand when it comes to that mark, because it's gonna get to there. It's gonna happen. But right now, it's the beginning stages. We're seeing the beginning stages of before it's actually implemented. Right? So I don't want nobody going crazy and feeling scared. Oh my gosh, the market's coming tomorrow. No, it's not. There's a lot of stuff that they have to work out as far as the world powers to get on board. And I'm going to show you what I believe will be the catalyst to be like, all right, you know what? We just need one stable coin and we're going to do this like this. Right? So it says the stable coin race began in 2019. Funny. 2019, a year before the world cough. Remember the world cough that happened the year prior, or the year after, in 2020? So a year before the world cough, they were already working on this, trying to change the system. So it says when Facebook proposed the stable coin Libra, right? Central banks responded by developing, and I spoke about this on this channel too, central bank digital currencies, a CBDC. And this has been the talk of today's conversation within the politics, right? And it says a CBDC in order to remain relevant in the digital payment space, right? So now let me jump down. It says China and the EU are pursuing CBDCs issued on a unified ledger. So China and the European Union, they're all working together to establish their own stablecoin dominance outside of the US, not even including the US in that. Because right now, what's dominant? The US dollar. So now the world powers outside of the US are working together to create their own stable coin, their own unified dollar or currency on the same ledger. And what a ledger is basically where their source of information will be, their source code, and the money will be in that particular ledger that that China and the EU would control outside of the US control. And this is all, and them working together is actually prophecy concerning what they would eventually do to this place. We're going to read about that in the book of Revelations. Right? So it says China. So now let's look at this though. I want you to see this. China established government issued CBDC. It's called the ECNY experiment. So this was an experiment So they came out with their own stablecoin as an experiment, and it has reached cumulative transactions of $7.3 trillion as an experiment. So they were able to circulate about $7.3 trillion using that stablecoin. So they seeing that it works. So basically they didn't need to circulate the US dollar. They were circulating their own currency that they created, and it produced $7.3 trillion. Pay attention to that. Right. And it says, however, the decision to formally adopt this ECNY has yet to be made. So they still can't come to a conclusion to use it between them and the EU. It says China has not been shy about its intention to use the ECNY as part of its geopolitical competition with the United States by expanding international use of the RMB. So now you guys can understand why y'all boy President Trump always says we have to beat China. And when he was putting out the tariffs on China, he put some crazy number like 150% tariff on China. Because why? They're the competition. Right? And I always told y'all it's about the money. Right? Look how much money China was able to circulate outside of the US control. And the US is like, nah, we want a piece of that. Y'all gonna have to pay this tariff. We can see what y'all did. 7.3 trillion outside of me, and we not making no money off this. This is, y'all gotta understand, it's all about this. It's all about money. Okay? Wars, anything that you could think of is always about this. It's greed. People are greedy. Mankind is greedy. The world is greedy. Right? If you can control the money system of the world, if you can control the money, you can control the world. That's basically how it works. Okay? So you can hear them talking about certain things on the news, but understand that money is involved. That's the reason why I'm sticking my nose in your business. If I can't make no money with y'all, nobody making no money. That's how America is. They're bullies, right? They're conquerors, right? The Roman, this is like the United States stem off from Rome. Rome built its power through divide and conquer. Conquering and invading. So it's what it's about. World conquest, world domination. That's what it's about. Okay. So we see that. So mind you, China and the EU is working together to create their own stable coin outside of the US control. Now what we have here. Well, what do we have here? Blockchain dominance. So now what is blockchain? A lot of you guys may not even know what a blockchain is. A blockchain is basically a public domain. You can say a public domain. You could go to a website and you can see each transaction, each wallet address transaction. So if you have a specific cryptocurrency, you would have a wallet address for that particular currency, and I can look, or you can look at what this particular wallet was buying, not really buying, but like what they were using to send and receive. Okay. But now there's something different when it comes to the blockchain technology and the CBDC, right? It's gonna make a lot of sense, right? So now the blockchain dominance, the top 5 competing countries, right? It says as the use of blockchain technology. So basically this blockchain technology is something new, right? It's something new. It's not something that, the world governments or the nations never use blockchain technology as far as buying and selling. Right now, the system that they currently use is called the SWIFT system. And that system is actually old and outdated. There's a newer system where it processes transactions in seconds. Because we already know that technology is moving, technology is rampant. Why should I wait to send money from here to Africa? Let's say if I want to send money to Africa, it'd take a couple of hours or maybe even days for that transaction to go through. But with this new blockchain technology, with this new technology that's coming up, I can send money in minutes or seconds. So they're gonna switch over from that old system to the new system, right? But now let's read this. It says, as the use of blockchain technology continues to expand, a number of countries are positioning themselves as leaders in the field. So now everybody wants to be in control of what? The money. So each country is now creating this technology to get in front of it and hopes that the world adopts their currency, because all right, it works, it's seamless. Okay, you're making money, I'm making money. All right, let's go with that one. But what's happening is the U.S. is trying to get in front of that. And the U.S. This is why you've heard Donald Trump say, we want to make America great again. We want to make we want to be the number one country leading in cryptocurrencies, right? And y'all got to understand this too. For him to say we want to make America great again, that means America lost its greatness. You can only lose your greatness how? If no one is using your currency. And we've seen it already that the nations already are using this technology amongst themselves. Okay, so now it says they're trying to position themselves, It says, from supportive government policies and strong infrastructures to a thriving startup ecosystem and a talented workforce, these 5 countries stand out as the top contenders for blockchain dominance. So we got the United States, right? Because the United States is losing its power. The United States has always been the number one in currency, or the world currency, right? It's used throughout the world. We also got China. China is what? Number 2, right? China is right behind them. Then you have Singapore. Then you have all of these other ones, right? So let me get out of here. Look at this. Now, a lot of you have been hearing about Bitcoin, and we spoke about this on this channel as far as cryptocurrencies and the Bitcoin. And I have my theories about the Bitcoin because I believe the government created the Bitcoin, because there's no known the person that they claim created the Bitcoin. His name was Amoto Nakasaki, something like that. Amoto, something like that. Nakasaki, some name like that. No, Nakamoto, something like that. Some Japanese name. But he's disappeared and no one has ever seen him. So they're saying that that's the person who actually created the Bitcoin. But I don't believe that, right? I believe that the Bitcoin technology, the technology was created as a test, and they seen that it works, and more technologies came out after it, which are actually better with faster processing speeds and lower fees, speed and efficiency, right? So the Bitcoin was just the grandfather of it all, like to start it up and to test out to test it out to see how people use it and what they're using it for. And what these lawmakers are upset about when it comes to Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoin is used to traffic, drug traffic, weapons traffic, sex traffic, right? A lot of Bitcoin in the early stages were used to transfer funds on the dark web, untraceable currency. And that's the thing about the word crypto. The word crypto actually means hidden. Cryptocurrency, hidden money. Okay? So now it says, Top government Bitcoin holders. BTC above, so now right now it's above $122,000 per coin. So if you want to buy one, you got to have $122,000, right? It says sends portfolios to new highs. So now let's look at this. Let me make this bigger. So now Bitcoin holding countries. So these are the countries that hold the most Bitcoin. And this is why I believe Bitcoin was never created to be used as a world currency. Right now, the Bitcoin is being used. You can say it's like they call it digital gold. It has it's a store of value, but it has no utility. Excuse me. There's no use case. You can't go somewhere and be like, all right, can I buy this orange? How much is this orange? That's going to be 0.3.4 something Bitcoins. All right. And you exchange it. There's no use case for Bitcoin. It's just like a store of value. It's like gold. It's digital gold. So people are just putting money into it and watching it increase and getting a return off of it. And that's what it's going to be used for. It's not going to be used for anything else. So eventually Bitcoin is going to, in my theory, is going to plummet because it's not going to be the new asset class as far as world currency. Because remember, we're focusing on Revelations 13 as far as world currency, right? So now, and this is the reason why it's not going to be used, especially for the U.S. Because look who holds the most Bitcoin. So by country, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, Arabs, they control the most amount of Bitcoin. And you see how it says in parentheses, it's rumored. It's rumored, right? So they hold approximately 420,000 Bitcoins. So if the world was to use Bitcoin as the world currency, who would be controlling the money? The Arabs. So you think the EU want that to be to take place? You think America wants that to take place? So they're not going to use the Bitcoin as world currency because rumored, supposedly, allegedly, the United Arab Emirates, they control the most amount. Then number two is what? The United States. The United States hold about 198,000 Bitcoin, which is worth $24 billion. Then the next runner up would be China. Then you got the United Kingdom. Then it goes down to who owns the most. But we understand from that last from the last article that China and the EU has been working together to create their own stable coin. So if they're gonna create their own stable coin, why would they use the Bitcoin when the United States is already dominating them in it? So they'll have a greater position in it. So it was never about the Bitcoin. All right. Now let's take a look at this video. Who's really winning the global crypto race? Let's take a look at this video. Fair use for educational purposes, right? This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I got to state that, okay? I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold anything. We're just doing this for research purposes only. We're trying to track the mark of the beast, right? Religiously, respectfully. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at this video. All right. So who's really winning the crypto race? Because remember, at the end of all of this, it's going to boil down to the world using one central payment according to the book of Revelations chapter 13. According to that, it's going to boil down to one particular coin or currency or one particular technology that will be used throughout the four corners of the earth. So right now, what we're seeing happening with all these creations of these different coins is basically people just jockeying for position in hopes that this will be the world currency. Right? And like I said, is cryptocurrency itself the mark of the beast? No. Cryptocurrency itself is not the mark of the beast. Cryptocurrency is the technology that is going to be used to help push it forward. Understand that. So if you do own Bitcoin, if you do have or Ethereum or whatever cryptocurrency that you have currently right now, that is not the mark of the beast. Okay? That is not the mark of the beast. The technology being used behind it, I believe, is the technology that will be used to use or that will be placed for the mark of the beast, as far as being able to digitally send money back and forth. So the technology that's being created will be used to push the mark. But is the currency itself, the name, whatever? No, right? So now look, who's winning? Who's really winning the cryptocurrency race? Let's look at this video. Hopefully there's no echo here. Hopefully no echo.
The experiment now has, of course, now it's known as Bitcoin, and it is rewriting the rules of global finance. After years of skepticism and speculation, the world's largest cryptocurrency is breaking records. Its market cap is climbing, institutional money is pouring in, and Wall Street is finally warming up to cryptos. As Bitcoin gains legitimacy, the real question is, where does the world stand on actual crypto adoption? Now, in 2020...
So even though, okay, I think I know why there's an echo. All right. How I sound now? So even though there is a push, or everybody is, there's a rise in the Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, they still have to, the world is still trying to figure out which one is going to be the world currency. Like which one will the world use? All right, let's continue. One second. Give me 1 second. Let me fix this real quick.
Nigeria led the world in crypto adoption by population, with 32% of adults in Nigeria using or owning digital assets. Vietnam follows Nigeria at 27%, while the UAE stands at 25.3%, driven by government-led policy and infrastructure investments. India tops the world in total users with more than 75 million crypto holders, thanks to its massive population, expanding digital economy, and strong remittance corridors. Other high adoption countries, including Turkey, where crypto acts as a hedge against the lira's persistent inflation, and the Philippines, which leverages crypto for low-cost remittances and play to earn income. While adoption is grassroots in many emerging markets, regulation is the key driver in global crypto hubs. Switzerland remains Europe's leading crypto destination with over 960 blockchain firms and tax-friendly policies. Singapore continues to lead Asia with cleared licensing, no capital gains tax, and state-sponsored blockchain projects. El Salvador, the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender, has saved an estimated $450 million in remittance costs.
So it says here that's crazy. I didn't even know that El Salvador has now made Bitcoin legal tender. So they're using the Bitcoin, like you can buy and purchase things in El Salvador with that. But it says Singapore is leading, or no, Switzerland is leading as far as in the crypto race, right? And they also said Singapore as well as leading in China. But let me continue. Interesting.
Despite rising adoption, crypto growth isn't evenly distributed. Some countries lack infrastructure like Bitcoin ATMs or domestic exchanges. Others face high stakes, weak internet access, or regulatory uncertainty. The US leads in physical infrastructure, hosting 76% of global Bitcoin ATMs, while countries like Nigeria and Vietnam drive adoption without extensive physical networks. Barriers include unclear tax laws, limited digital literacy, and financial institutions resisting crypto integration. Yet, countries that prioritize education, like Singapore, are building long-term ecosystems.
So right now, there's not a lot of legal clarity in regulating cryptocurrencies. So that was the biggest thing that was stopping the U.S. from actually pushing forward with the initiative of making America the crypto capital of the world, right? That was then. And also, the world is still behind when it comes to the clarity or making rules and regulations for it. So now, earlier today, first of all, yesterday, they had to vote on some new acts, some new bills. Well, there was three acts that they wanted to sign into effect. One is called the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and the what is it? What was the third one? The No CBDC Act. And in Congress, they were going back and forth as far as a lot of the Democrats were saying, no, we are against this. And a lot of the Republicans were saying, no, we're actually for this. Right. So mind you, this was a live stream that was done today. And I think this live stream was about, as you can see on the screen, probably like 6 to 7 hours, because I know they're in recess right now. But this thing was about like 7 hours long, where they sat to discuss the future of cryptocurrencies here in the U.S. And if you didn't know that, this happened today. Okay, so I'm gonna play a part of it because they spoke about the Genius Act, it got passed. They spoke about the Clarity Act, which got passed. The last talking point on the table was the No CBDC Act. So now, what is the CBDC Act? Right? For those of you guys who don't know. So now, the Republicans wanted the United States to sign into law that the United States, or not the United States, but the Federal Reserve cannot issue a CBDC. So we already know that the Federal Reserve is who issues and prints the money to the United States of America. So now the Republicans want to step away from that. They want to step away from allowing the Federal Reserve to control now a central bank digital currency. So now with that, what that would give the federal government the rights to do, or the power to do, is to be able to spy on you. They through the blockchain ledger and having their own CBDC, right? They would be able to see all your transactions, where you're spending, where you're going, how much money you use to travel. They would be able to see every single thing that you're doing while using their CBDC. But the crazy thing about it is, when you use cryptocurrencies anyways through the blockchain, you can still see what is being moved around. But with the CBDC now, not only would you be able to see what's being moved around, you can see what I'm spending. And that's an infringement of privacy. And a lot of the Republicans don't want the federal government to have that type of power. And I was listening to some of them speak, and a lot of, and like I said, they're all fighting. Like that's why I say it's more complex than we may think. But they're all still, there's a lot of infighting when it comes to this new technology. Some people are for it, some people are against it. But at the end of the day, it's not going to stop the prophecy concerning this type of currency that will be used worldwide. So like I said, right now it's in the infancy stage of the technology, this digital currency, that they're still going back and forth. Some of them are against it because a lot of them are Christians, so they know prophetically what that means, but they're not really coming out and saying it. It's really interesting when you listen to it. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it, and there's some points that I want you guys to hear from these politicians or these congressmen, right? These speakers. So follow along, fair use for educational purposes. Listen clearly to what the conversation was today, right? And I want to play it where I want to make sure there's no echo. And y'all doing great. Y'all continue to hit that like button on your way in. Continue to drive this traffic because listen, we here, all right? We are here, and it's time for us to be aware of what's happening because this has everything to do with your future, right? Look.
Customers, communities, businesses with all different needs. And capitalism promotes market demand, which incentivizes banks to offer products that fit the needs of their consumers at the best price possible. We don't want to eliminate that. We don't want to erode the deposit base with a CBDC. So I ask you, Mr. Speaker, would we truly want to lose the benefits of a diverse banking system that makes the U.S. the global leader in the financial system? Do we want to take actions to be more like China or Europe and decrease Americans' right to privacy?
You see? So they know that we're being America is being compared to China and the EU. China and the EU are in cahoots when it comes to this world currency or this stablecoin currency, and they're trying to take the US out of it. They're trying to be the innovators and they're trying to revolutionize currency, the money system, how money is being used, how money is being able to be spent and being made. So China and the EU is getting in front of it, trying to be dominant in it. And and now he's speaking like, yo, do we really want to be like China? Because basically we already know that China is a communist country. So of course, in a communist country, the government knows or has control over your freedoms, i.e., or for an example, their money. This is why they created a CBDC. So now they can see what the Chinese people are, they can see what their citizens are spending, what they're buying. And matter yet, if I don't like what you're doing, I could just turn off your chip altogether or your currency altogether, because I'm looking at the blockchain and I'm saying, okay, this household, the Zhang household is spending too much on this item. Nah, let's stop them. Let's decrease it a little bit. So I'm not saying that's what's actually happening, but with that technology, it is possible for them to see that. And if they don't like what you're doing, turn it off. So he's saying, yo, we don't want to be like China or the EU. The federal government should not have access to what I'm doing with my personal money. That's my money. You see, this is what's happening. So this is the and I want to make this clear too. This is why I'm going to read it in Revelations when it says that they shall hate the whore, which is America. Because America is actually really the last stand as far as like not really being on board. Because America is not a whole country. It's a corporation. There's many different corporations working as one. Okay, so within this corporations, a lot of the other corporations don't want to play ball with what the EU is doing or with what the so-called powers that be are doing. So, like I said, it's way more complex than what you may have thought it was. America is not just one whole big union that just everybody's working together. By going into this research and looking how they dealing with money, it made me see that they're not really all together like we think. There's a lot of infighting, and the fact that the fact that they can't really put this whole place into submission is because a lot of these sub corporations or these countries or states are fighting back against their plan. So as you can see, they have these open discussions and you can see the infighting. So this is the reason why they want to. This is why eventually the EU and them they're trying to find a way to do away with this place, because this is the last. This is one of the places that's actually standing in the way of world domination.
I went to the European Central Bank. I heard them lecture us about a CBDC, and it made me more convinced than ever that we don't want to be like Europe. The answer is we do not want to be like Europe. We do not want to be like the communists in Beijing. We must not disintermediate our banking system and allow for a creation of a CBDC. We must not threaten Americans' access to privacy. That's why I support this legislation.
You see? So it's not going to be as easy as some people may think. It's not going to be as easy because there's a lot of states that are fighting back against this system, the beast system itself. But there's nothing that they're going to be able to do because it's already been written. Right now, America is just working on borrowed time. But there's a lot of infighting. There's a lot that's going on within the politics, which shows you how which actually shows you, and it gives you a insight as to why the EU and China and them, they want to do away with this place. Too much individualism, too much free thought. Americans still have the right to bear arms, which, you know what I'm saying? In Europe is not like that. Even the police officers don't have guns. So it's like this place will fight. These people will fight for their rights. And as you can see, who he believes in the American dream. He's an American. He does not want them to have complete control over our freedoms. So there's a lot of people who's in the government who's thinking that way, but it's nothing that you could do. And the side that's saying, yo, we should not pass this bill, are the side that's already sold out. Like, if you can't beat them, join them. So that's the struggle that we're seeing within the politics right now, too.
And urge all my colleagues to do so as well. And if you really don't like a CBDC, to my Republican colleagues, vote for the Genius Act, which takes away all the arguments for it. I yield back.
Time's expired.
Mr. Speaker, I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. The gentlelady from California is recognized.
Thank you. I now yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from Connecticut, Mr. Himes, who is also the ranking member of the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
Thank you, ma'am. The gentleman from Connecticut is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentle lady from California for this opportunity to speak, because this is one of the most ignorant things I have seen this House produce in a very, very long time. And it stuns me, frankly, that my good friends, Congressman Hill and Stile and Barr, are associating themselves with this bill. Let's be super clear about this. Nobody knows whether a CBDC is a good idea. A couple years ago, I wrote a white paper on CBDC, and I concluded that it's not clear. And the arguments for and against are being mooted today. Yes, it could be abused by an overwhelming executive. If we had a president that, for example, showed disdain for the Constitution, that was comfortable acting illegally, that wasn't comfortable with judicial rulings, it's hard for us to imagine that president, but this could be abused. It could be used for monetary policy, bad idea. It could be used for taxation, bad idea. It could also, by the way, be a trusted electronic currency for an unbanked population. It could be a way of supporting the primacy of the American dollar. I don't know. And the truth is that nobody on that side of the aisle or this side of the aisle knows either. But we're going to forbid any inquiry around this to figure out whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. We're going to say you can't even research it.
So as you can see, right, he's fighting for them to not sign this bill because it stops the government from issuing its own CBDC. So, in my opinion, he's on the side that sold out already. Like, yo, you can't beat them, join them, right? He's already given up his rights. He's given up his freedoms. Like, yo, they paying me. Let's do this thing, man. Why are we even here talking about it? But there's some that's like, yo, let's sign this bill because, yo, the federal government should not have the right to invade your privacy. Point blank, period. So this is what the conversation was about today, right?
Stunning definition of ignorance. Imagine if we had said electricity is scary 100 years ago. It can kill you. It's produced by burning coal, which is dangerous. So we're going to not research electricity or atomic power or the automobile. Tens of thousands of Americans die every year because of the automobile. We don't know, and the majority says, let's not learn, because they have some ideological fixation that, frankly, I don't understand. 200 years ago, the private sector, which my friends on the other side of the aisle hold up, had issued currency. It was called scrip. Companies and banks issued their own currency, and this country learned that that was a terrible idea, and that, in fact, the central bank should issue currency, which is one of the reasons we are who we are today. So you might give the CBD at least some benefit of the doubt instead of being ignorant about whether we want to know the truth.
So he's trying to convince the House with his argument that we actually do need a CBDC because none of us actually know what it really entails. But when you read the white papers on CBDC, they will have the ability to see what you're able to buy and sell through the ledger, through their blockchain. So like I said, there's some that's for it and there's some that's pushing back for it. That's pushing back against it. And those who are pushing back against it, they are the ones who want the cryptocurrency. They want the hidden money, right? Because now, if you understand why Trump wanted them to sign it, is because he's a billionaire, right? And if I'm a billionaire and I'm doing a whole bunch of different transactions, I don't want the federal government to see what I'm buying and selling, because my purchases will become public records, right? And this is what these billionaires are trying to stop. They're trying to get in front of it because a lot of things happen in the dark. A lot of underhand table stuff be happening. A lot of trafficking, whether it's drugs or child trafficking, and all of these other things happen, and payment has to be made. So now, if the federal government says, okay, now we're gonna issue a CBDC, now the standard will be that in America. Now all of your transactions will be on a ledger. So if I was to transfer you money as a billionaire for some type of services that you've done for me, which would probably not be legal, it would be posted right there. Okay, on this day you sent this individual X amount of CBDCs. Why? What did you send them for? Now you got to produce information. It's a whole lot, you see. But with the cryptocurrency, a lot of stuff could be hidden, even though it still will be on the ledger, but it could be hidden, if it makes sense. You understand? Hopefully y'all understand.
We need to stop this. We held this institution up for 2 days over a bizarre MAGA obsession, which is rooted in insanity.
Yeah, yes, you're right. The Ripple company that behind XRP did donate $5 million to this campaign. And that's one of the technologies that's like ahead of its time. Like when it comes to the transaction speed, everything that the nations want, as far as if I'm sending money from here to China, that would take a couple of days. But with that technology called Ripple, the transaction speed is like seconds. Like If I was to send you a text in seconds, that's how fast you would receive the money. So that's the technology behind what I believe would be used for the mark. Okay, they're going to use that same technology and replicate it right now. But let's continue listening to what he got to say. So he's making a strong argument, so to speak.
And ignorance. Don't even find out the answer. The ranking member said that this is, like a boy who is hiding from the truth. I have another metaphor. This is like a young 5-year-old who's angry and covers his eyes and ears and believes he's invisible.
It works or not. We've got plenty of evidence. It doesn't work. Central bank digital currency inserts government between you and your money. The government, another word for central bank digital currency is programmable money. Well, who does the programming? The central bank. They can condition your access to your own money with whatever parameters they put in place. They can.
So, like I said, like me listening to this conversation earlier today, I didn't listen to the whole thing because who got time to listen to these people talking for 6 hours? But for some of the parts that I was able to listen to, like this part right here, they're just trying to they're trying to get in the way of Revelations 13. Because as you hear him speak, he understands that if the federal government issues the CBDC, a lot of people's freedoms will be stripped. And according to Revelations 13, that's going to happen regardless, but they're just trying to slow down the process. They just don't want the U.S. government, where we here at home, to have that access, right?
Can filter transactions. They can even set them to expire. And monetary policy wonks in the communist banking world think this is a feature, not a flaw.
You see, he said that if the central bank, which is controlled by the Federal Reserve, if they issue a CBDC, they could even set it if they want it to expire. So if you don't use your money, or if you don't use your CBDCs by a certain time, it will expire. It's basically forcing you to spend your money that you don't want to spend, so you got to keep going back for more. It's like you could see how they're going to make this thing, they're going to have humanity enslaved through that system where your currency expires. So if it expires, you got to go back and get more, and they control it. And they're going to be able to dictate how you'll be able to receive it. Hence showing you how you'll be able to buy or sell, or you won't be able to buy or sell because you won't control it. Right now, you can control your dollars, you can control your paper dollars, you can control to a certain extent what's in your bank account. But what if they issue in the digital form of that money? Who really controls it? It's not in your custody.
They think that they could set your access to your money to expire, that it would be a better future. Every dystopian fiction that I have found, Brave New World, 1984, says this is the future of money, that it's corrupted into a tool for surveillance, coercion, and control. And frankly, our own current banking systems crept too close to that. We need to turn the other direction. And the market's telling us that. That's why cryptocurrency was invented, frankly. That's why it's so popular and it's a growing asset class. We need to say no to this, and we need to protect what the market is telling us consumers want. And we tested.
So he's basically saying that's the reason why cryptocurrencies was created. And yes, cryptocurrencies was created to give more privacy between consumer and consumer, or peer-to-peer transactions. The government should not be in my business as far as what I'm buying and what I'm selling, who I'm sending money to and who I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why programmers, or you could call them programmers, or what you call them, coders, created cryptocurrency. They created their own form of currency, which I was able to send between my friends or different institutions or different countries, and that's how they got away from, one, evading taxes, two, keeping the privacy, right? You're not seeing money move back and forth. So that's why cryptocurrencies was actually created against what the federal government is trying to create, which is a CBDC. Okay?
This under the Biden administration. They decided that they were going to spy on your bank accounts if you had $600 in your bank. And the public said, whoa, what? Why are you spying on my bank account? And in a communist world, they say, well, if you have nothing to hide, then why should you have anything to fear?
And you see, that's China. So China, and mind you, China created remember we read it, China created the ECNY as a project or as a test. And while they was testing it, they were able to circulate $7.3 trillion. So they seen that it worked. People didn't care what the government was able to see, what they were buying. People are still using the currency because what else can I use? If the United States tomorrow decide, all right, we're no longer using the dollars. I want you to, everybody got to go to your local bank, trade in all of your dollars for our new currency, whatever it would be. You would have no choice but to use it. So that's what China actually did, right? It's crazy.
But that's not our way of life in this country. The Fourth Amendment doesn't say that. It says if you have probable cause, and only then you get a warrant. Here, you build in the surveillance into the program. And look, I get it. If all men were angels, this would never be abused, but we know they're not. We've seen massive abuse in our own country, but in Canada, we saw Trudeau, a fellow traveler on the communist Long March, want to ban people's access to their own bank accounts because they were protesting his COVID policies at trucker rallies. This is very easy to do when you have programmable money. We need to say no to this. It is an existential threat to our way of life, and ideally we would do it at every opportunity. I urge all our colleagues to vote for Mr. Emmer's bill and stop this threat to our way of life. I yield back.
Gentleman yields.
I reserve, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman reserves. The gentlelady from California is recognized.
Thank you. I now yield 3 minutes.
All right, so that's enough of that. So it was hours of them going back and forth. Okay, hours of them going back and forth. One side giving their argument, don't sign the bill, and the other side saying, sign the bill. We want privacy. So they did all of that, right? They did all of that to then have this happen today, right? Let me make it bigger on the screen. They did all of that to have this happen today. And this is why I said this is the beginning of the digital revolution. U.S. House passes stablecoin legislation, sending the bill to Trump. So they got to send it to him so he can sign it, right? Should you watch this? Hold on. Matter of fact, let's watch this video. I think this was interesting.
A landmark week for digital currency legislation, and Bitcoin is loving it. This is Crypto Weekly. The Republican-controlled U.S. House of Representatives cleared key procedural hurdles on crypto legislation on Wednesday. It came a day after President Trump intervened to save the initiative and gets one step closer to the first federal law for digital assets. The votes came after more than 9 hours of private talks as leaders worked to win over lawmakers skeptical of how the package was structured. A bill to establish a federal framework for stablecoins is likely to be first to be passed, in what would be a watershed victory for the crypto industry. Some large US lenders, including Bank of America and Citibank, are working on launching stablecoins. B of A CEO Brian Moynihan said this week that investors can expect the lender to move forward with plans without giving a timeline.
So you can see Bank of America is moving full steam ahead, getting in front of this thing. But so today it says the U.S. House of Representatives on Thursday passed a bill to create a regulatory framework. And that's what was stopping a lot of these major corporations from actually getting into cryptocurrencies and stable coins, because there was no regulations. There was no actual rules as to what we can and cannot do. Is this taxable or is it non-taxable? Like, if I lose my money, how am I going to get it back if it's all digital? They created these laws or these rules, and this is what they were talking about with the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, and to stop the federal government from producing their own CBDC. So this was what it was, and everything was signed, everything was passed. So everybody's is excited. Right, so they think that they separating themselves from the beast by being independent and making America great again and making America the number one crypto capital of the world. So they're really not trying to play ball with the rest of the world when it comes to crypto dominance or money dominance, right? Because America still wants to be a superpower. America still want to be a superpower. Look, it says. The U.S. House of Representatives on Thursday passed a bill to create a regulatory framework for U.S. dollar-pegged cryptocurrency tokens known as stablecoins. So yes, remember I said in the beginning, back then you had to trade in your gold to get paper dollars. Now you would have to now the stablecoin that they would create, whatever they're gonna use, has to be backed by the U.S. dollar. So keeping the U.S. dollar on top still. Not using the Chinese yen or the British pound. We're gonna use the U.S. dollar to back our stable coin, right? But anyways, it says sending the bill to President Donald Trump, who is expected to sign it into law. Okay, so it was passed. All the for and against, it didn't matter. They still passed it. America has. The U.S. has signed the Stable Law Act or they passed it in the House. Now it has to be signed by the president, right? So that was signed. Oh, matter of fact, I'll come back to that. I will come back to that. So now let's go into the scripture. I got to show this. So we see here that the the U.S. signed that into law. Now there's more clarity and there's more regulations now when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So now the federal government now cannot even try to use or create their own CBDC. And I want you guys to understand this too. Why is it important for us to understand that the U.S. or the federal government cannot issue a CBDC? Because we see a lot of the lawmakers, they were talking about that is going to be infringement of their privacy, of our privacy. They could have your money expire if they want to, right? They'll be able to track what you're spending. So now it only makes sense that the U.S. wouldn't be able to have a CBDC, which will in turn be used as the world currency, because right now there's still we still don't know what is going to be that world currency, because every nation is still jockeying for position when you really look at it. So there's not one main global currency that will be digital, not yet. But as of right now, the U.S. they have signed into law that the United States federal government cannot issue one. So that already takes the United States out of the question as far as this central currency, this one world currency. That takes the United States out of the mix. And that's very important to understand. That is very important to know that, because why? When we go to the book of Revelations, look, we're going back to the book of Revelations, right? This is how you can make sense of it. In the book of Revelations, we're gonna go to where I had that. I had it in. I forgot what chapter. I mean, what verse. There's two scriptures I want to get. Right? Hold on. All right. Yeah, I'm right here. All right. So now, why is that important to understand? Because we got to make sense of this, and we got to make sense of where this beast currency will come from. And I'm already seeing that it's not going to come from the US. Because you know why? Matter of fact, I'm gonna come back to Revelation 17. Let me go here. Revelations 18 and no, is it 19? Let me get it for you real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me find it now. Let me find that for you. Let me find it for you. There's a scripture in particular that I want to point out. That's going to make it make sense as to why the United States shouldn't or is not going to be responsible for this CBDC, or which would be called the world currency. Look. Right? All right. I was already there. Oh my goodness. All right. Revelation 17. Still in 17. But I'm going to jump up first. Well, in fact, let me just read it straight through. This right here shows you why. Right? This right here shows you why America will not be the one to issue the world currency or to implement the mark. The mark is not going to come from this place. It's going to be implemented here, but they're not going to be the world power behind it. Listen, look at this. Revelation 17 and 12. It says, and the 10 horns, listen to this clearly. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So these 10 kingdoms, they're jealous, they envy the EU. And Elder Rawchaa broke it down in this past Sabbath lesson about the original 10 horns, the European Union. It said that they have not received the kingdom, but they will receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So they will have power with the beast. And remember, we're talking about the mark of the beast. So if they gonna have the power, listen to this clearly. Look, this is how you put it together. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto who? Unto the beast. So these European unions, they're already on board with what the beasts want to do. This is the reason why they're working so hard to create their CBDC. Because they're going to be given power to issue the world currency. So the world currency is not going to come from the US. The US was never created, was not created to be the glory of kingdoms. Power is going to go back to Europe, to the EU, because why? Power is going to be given to the EU 1 hour with the beast. Satan is going to give them the power, not the US. This place is going to be destroyed. So if this place is going to be destroyed, how can they be responsible for issuing the world currency? Look at this. It says, I'm going to read verse 12 again. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So if anybody's going to is going to implement the mark of the beast, it's not going to be from this place, because this place is not going to get the power. The 10 kings are, the 10 horns are. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. So who's going to make war with the Lamb? The 10 horns, the European Union. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords, the King of kings, and they that are dead, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Look, now look at this. It says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Who's the whore? This place, America. It's expendable. That's what it is. But the scripture calls it a whore. What do? What do people do with a whore? You use it. And when you're done with it, all right, get out of here. This is why it's so raw, but it's vivid. It makes sense that this place would be called the whore of Babylon. This is the whore. This is what the nations will use. It was never created to be the head. It was never created to rule everything. But the pride of this place has covered their eyes. That's why it tells you in the book of Isaiah that thy pride has covered thee. Make America great again. We want to be the crypto dominance. Is it making sense now? Is the scriptures coming to life now? So this place is really a sham. It's really a show. This ain't real, because power has only been given to it for a time. But real power is going to be given to the 10 horns. 1 hour for the beast, with the beast, because they're the ones who's actually playing ball with the beast. Right? Look, and it said here. Listen to this. This is the kicker right here. This is how we know America is not going to be the ones to establish the world currency. It's not going to come from here. It's going to come from the EU. It's going to come from the 10 horns, because it says here, verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. See, they're on the beast, because the beast is their foundation. Right? The beast is giving them their power. The beast allowed them to implement the world currency where no man will be able to buy or sell. And the fact that a lot of Americans don't want to play ball with the EU, all right, we got to get them out the way. We got to get it out the way. How are they going to get it out the way? And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That's what's going to happen. Okay? For God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. So it's the Most High's will for them to do this. And to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So the world currency is not going to come from this place. So now we see, and you never know, they could be insiders as well too, stopping them from creating this world currency. Understanding that, power got to go back to Rome anyways. So what's the point of you having a CBDC? Because the world is not going to use it. The beast is going to give that power to the EU and everybody who's in league with the EU. So they're going to be responsible for that world currency. And this is why I'm saying like, we're seeing the beginning of this digital revolution. It's a revolution that's happening right now. So now, right now, what's happening America is trying to separate themselves and become dominant in the crypto aspect, as far as having the currency outside of the EU's influence for now. This is the reason why they're signing all of these laws into act, or these acts into law, excuse me, as far as cryptocurrency, getting more clarity, getting more understanding on it. Now Donald Trump is talking about all American-based cryptos will not be exempt, will be exempt from capital gains tax, where you don't have to pay taxes on it for the money that you make off of it if it's U.S. based. It's trying to separate themselves from the EU. And this is what's going to make this is what's making the EU or the 10 horns hate this place even more. Hope y'all could see it now. Hope y'all could understand it through the financial and government side of it. Because they didn't just wake up one day and be like, yeah, well, let's just do away with it. Nah. Y'all standing in the way of us making money. That's basically what it is. It's crazy. So now what we're seeing with the U.S. doing that, they're just basically posturing themselves to show the rest of the world like, we still good over here. Y'all trying to take us out, but yeah, we still good over here. And they're gonna be like, yeah, okay, we're gonna see, right? And last week I mentioned this article, right? Hold on, where am I? Last week I mentioned this article. Hold on, what was it? I mentioned this article. Let me pull it up. Where is this article that I pulled up? Let me look at my history. Give me 1 second. Let me find this article that I pulled up last week. So last week, let me see. Last week, what date was last week? I gotta find this. I mentioned this article about the WHO, the World Health Organization, right? Last week was. Give me 1 second. I gotta find this article for y'all. Okay, Thursday. Right here. Right here. Got it. Right? Last week, I showed y'all this, right? I showed y'all how the World Health Organization, World Health Assembly adopts historic pandemic agreement to make the world more equitable and safer from future pandemics. So mind you, when I asked the question earlier, or I asked a question within the title, should we be worried about it as of right now? Will they implement the mark of the beast right now? Or in the short form, no, not right now. They can't implement it right now because there's so much going on, so much infighting between here in the U.S., between the EU and the U.S. Nah, all of that is going to happen. Is drawing up to it right now. The technology is being rolled out. The infrastructure is being set up, right? To set it up. So now, how will they be able to issue a world currency now? How will the EU be able to issue a world currency? And I remember I said that it's going to take something catastrophic for them to be able to do that. Look, what did they do earlier this year? The World Health Assembly adopts historic pandemic agreement to make the world more equitable and safer from future pandemics. right? So all the world is lockstep with creating something, an event of a next pandemic, right? Right? No, not this. What am I doing? And I want y'all to take a look at this. This was published March 6, 2020. This was published March 6, 2020. Can going cashless prevent coronavirus spread? Here's what the WHO, the World Health Organization, wants you to know. And like I said this earlier, they leave the receipts everywhere. You just got to find them. Who's behind it? The World Health Organization. What did they agree on? To make the world safe during a pandemic. So just, critical thinking here, using critical thinking, what do you think that they're going to use to implement this world currency? I'm not going to say it. Y'all say it. Can going cashless prevent the spread of a virus? Here's what the WHO, the World Health Organization, wants you to know. And this was published in 2020. As many Americans shop for supplies amid the coronavirus outbreak, concerns have circulated about whether handling cash could contribute to the spread of the virus. Pesky dollar bills. Some outlets reported that you should use contactless payment methods instead of paper money. What are we talking about now? Stablecoins. What did we just sign into law? A lot of clarity and the Genius Act to show us how to use this cryptocurrency that we're starting to use, which is digital currency. Right? They want you to go contactless. Cash is notorious. I'm right here. Cash is notoriously covered in germs. Studies suggest that paper bills can contain bacteria and viruses, plus lead to the spread of disease. The lifespan of various bills ranges 4 to 15 years, according to the Federal Reserve, meaning your bills have a lot of time to accumulate germs. See that? Back in 2020, this is what they were talking about. Conditioning the mind to understand, like, yo, we got to do away with cash. 5 years later, let's make an agreement. We're going to be on one accord. We're going to be on one accord to create and to stabilize the future in case another virus happens. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Wait, matter of fact, hold on. We're going to be in one accord. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. They have one mind. The World Health Assembly adopts. They have one mind. They have one mind. Yo, you can't make this up. So, in case of an emergency or in case of an outbreak, cash is going to be the leading cause of spreading a germ. So what they're going to use to implement that world currency Y'all, you say it. I'm just putting the pieces together. Like your man Bill Gates of hell said, there's gonna be another. He said it himself. There's gonna be another pandemic. He said it. It's gonna be another one. And he said, and yo, yeah, matter of fact, let me see if I can see if I can pull up that video, man. When he said it, where he said, I don't think you guys are gonna be ready for the next one. Hold on. Let's pull it up. What he said? What he said? Hold on, I gotta find that video. I gotta find it where he said that thing. All right, hold on. I'm gonna play this fair use thing.
The last thing you want is a bidding war between countries.
Hold on. Here it goes. Where am I? Here it goes. Bill and Melinda Gates on preparing for the next pandemic. All right? This is their words, not mine. I didn't say this. They said this. Okay? And I'm just using my critical thinking skills to understand what they're trying to say. Fair use.
The last thing you want is a bidding war between countries for this vaccine. You know, we know there are 60 million healthcare workers around the world who are keeping everybody safe. They deserve to get this vaccine first. And from there, you want to do tiering in various countries to make sure your most vulnerable populations get it. In our country, that would be Blacks and Native Americans, people with underlying health conditions, and the elderly. The last thing.
So we got to make sure we get it first, because we're more vulnerable. We're more vulnerable, right? But there was another one where he actually said it. They must have scrubbed the internet with that thing. This could be it right here. Hold on. Let me play this one. Fair use. I'm going to play this one.
This will be the last pandemic that we face. You know, pandemics can come from natural causes, which is largely coming across from other species. You know, a flu, for example, is still a very big risk. And so we'll have to invest in making sure that we catch the disease sooner and that we have platforms to make diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines very quickly. Very little was invested in preparedness innovation to think through failure about nurses to avoid the epidemic. So we, you know, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, you know, I'd say is, so we, you know, we'll have to a lot faster. So we, you know, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, you know, I'd say is, will get attention this time. For the next one, that, you know, I'd say is, will get attention this time. Prepare for the next one. That, you know, I'd say is, will get attention this time.
We got to prepare for the next one, because that one will get attention next time. It will get your attention next time. And that's how they're going to be able to do that. In my opinion. Right? In my opinion, that's how they're going to be able to implement that world currency. But it's going to come from the world, the EU. And we see the world is already working, like I showed you already. Like the world is already working together when something happens. Can't make this stuff up, y'all. We cannot make this stuff up. So I just want y'all to understand that we're living in the beginning of we're seeing the revolution happen. We're seeing it happen. We just got to pay attention and understand that this is just what it is. And it's not like we're going to be caught off guard because we're seeing it happen. Christ told us this was going to happen. It's written in Scripture that this was going to happen. It's a shame on you if you don't prepare for what's to come, right? Put you and your family in a position where you don't have to, where you're not going to need their CBDC. And that comes into being self-sufficient, right? And that's another conversation for another day. But should you worry about this right now? No, keep your eyes on it because they're actively working towards it. It has to fulfill itself. The Most High spoke it, so it has to come to pass. We're just seeing the step-by-step process of it taking place. It's just interesting to me, right? It's very interesting. I don't know if it was interesting for y'all, but connecting the dots, making it make sense, it just listen. Oh, you know what I mean? It just makes it even more worth the while to understanding the scriptures. So what I'm gonna do real quick, definitely, I want to put up the Zoom real quick. I'm gonna put out the Zoom link real quick. If you any comments, questions, whatever the case is, come on in, right? Let's talk about it. Let me set up I should have set this up before the stream, but let me set it up now real quick. I thank you all for coming in. Man, thank you guys for hitting that like button. All right. Thank you guys for hitting that like button, for coming in, viewing this broadcast. Like, don't forget to share this with your friends and families, y'all. Get them involved. Let them know what's happening, right? As we see prophecy unfolding itself right before us. Okay. What is this? Let me start this. Let me start this meeting. I'm gonna put the link out in the chat so that way you guys could join real quick. Give me 1 second. No, what am I doing? Excuse me. Give me 1 second. And let me copy the link. Okay. And I'm going to put it in the chat. So brothers and sisters, feel free to join. Click the link in the chat and you can join. Let me hold on. As you can see it right there. I'm going to pin it to the chat. Feel free to come on in, right? Definitely come on in. The link is in the chat. And we'll talk for about 10 to 15 minutes. I know I haven't done the Zoom in a while, but tonight was a definitely very insightful broadcast, very informative, and I know some of you may have some questions or some thoughts. Or, just want to just say shalom. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. We got some time. We got some time. So all praise be to the Most High. Once again, brothers and sisters, don't forget, right? Don't forget the Hebrew and Bible Academy, right? We're still accepting enrollments, right? We're still accepting enrollments. Visit us at historytimes.org to enroll. All right. Listen, you doing yourself a disjustice. You're doing yourself a disjustice if you don't join. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's only information to gain, none to lose. Right? Like I said, I appreciate you all for coming in, man. Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness. Oh man, and like I said, I pray that this broadcast was definitely a blessing to you all. I pray that this broadcast was eye-opening for some, and like I said, when I looked in the chat earlier, someone was inquiring about baptism. So if you would like to be baptized, send us an email, and send us an email at gathering144. No, sorry, gatheringas1@aol.com. so that way you can get routed to the proper location, and you can be guided to a body in your area, and you can be baptized by the local leadership in your area. Salute to all of the men that is working in the Most High, in Christ's vineyard, in the congregations, all the bishops, all the deacons, all the elders throughout the four corners of the earth, all the officers as well too, who's sacrificing their time, right, to feeding the Most High's people. I salute you all, right? I salute you all, because it's not an easy task, right? It's not an easy task. But listen, we're giving up this world to receive the one to come, all right? Did I put? Hold on. So once again, the link is in the chat, not the description. So if you look at the live chat, of course you're watching this live, the link is in the live chat. So I pinned it to the top. So if you would like to come in, praise the Most High. If not, listen, praise the Most High nonetheless. This was a great broadcast. This is a great conversation. Even though if I believe it was one-sided for now, you guys watch it. I can't wait to hear the feedback from this broadcast. I can't wait to hear the feedback. If I connected any dots for anyone, I definitely want to hear that, man. I definitely want to see what's happening, right? And want to give the Most High continual praise for just giving us the insight. Because think about it, y'all. Where would we be if we didn't have the Bible? If we didn't have these scriptures? If we didn't have understanding? If Christ didn't open up our minds, the Holy Spirit didn't open up our understanding to understand what's happening, and to be able to see the scriptures, but yet to connect it to everyday life, man. We have a gift, and I say it's a gift because it's from on high. We have a gift that many people will go a lifetime not even experiencing. And here it is. Some of us, we may take it for granted, but we can't take it for granted, man. We gotta, just give the Most High his praise, give the Most High his due praise for giving us the eyes to see and the ears to hear, man. Right. So, like I said, the Zoom link is out. Is there any other announcements that I have for you all? If not, I don't think I have anything else at this point in time. One second. Want to make sure. Oh yeah, matter of fact, speaking of this AI thing, let me show y'all this. As we wait for anybody that want to come in, that would like to come in. If not, then we here. Let me show y'all this. Speaking of this AI thing, man. Let me make sure you get no disturbances. Hold on real quick. Right? Let me show y'all this. And I think I was supposed to show you guys this in one of the last broadcasts I did. Hold on. Having problems. Okay, hold on. Let me come out of it. Like the video that I showed y'all earlier about the AIs talking, and I did airplane mode. That's why. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to do that. All right, here it goes. Let me show y'all this video right here. And y'all could tell me if y'all think this is true or not, right? If you think this is true, let me go here. So the caption is, and I hope y'all can hear it too. The caption is, "Are barbers doomed?" So as you can see, you got like a robot cutting hair. Y'all believe this is real? Y'all believe this is real? Or if this was an AI generated video, man? Because I don't know. I ain't never seen nothing like this before in my life. I mean, to be fair, they got robots flipping patties and making burgers. So look at this. There's a robot cutting hair. So all you barbers, y'all gotta have to step y'all game up. If you can't do a fade like this robot, then you out of here. Robot cutting hair. All right. I got somebody in here. Hold on. What's this? Oh, my aunt Christopher coming in real quick. Shalom, can you hear me? Yeah, this little echo thing. I know you guys are saying it's not a big deal, but I could hear the echo. Y'all saying this reverb. I gotta watch the playback to see what it really sound like. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. What's going on, Ak?
Shalom, again.
Hold on, let me put the volume.
Can you hear me good? Again?
Yeah, speak again.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. Go ahead. What's going on?
Okay. Yes, no, that's good that you're showing us about this right now, because I don't know if you remember when I tell you what, for example, if they bring the mark of the beast, they don't even have to force people to take it.
Mm-hmm. No, they're not.
Me, for example, Deacon, do you remember when I tell you, I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago, when before I made the truth, I was in school, and I say a few my colleagues in my class, and I asked them, "Are you willing to take the mark of the beast?" And they say, "Yeah, I will take it. I don't want to die in hunger." And they say, "Wow, so are you willing to take it just like that?"
You said your classmates said they would take it?
Yeah, some of the roomies of the class say, "Yes, I'm willing to take it." Because some there will say, because I don't want to die in hunger, I don't want to lose and that and that and that. And I say, "Whoa, just like that? So no fighting, nothing?" So yes, just like that.
And the crazy part is, a lot of people is gonna take it because the way it's gonna be set up is like you're not gonna have no choice. They're just gonna take away the money that you actually have is not gonna be in use. So in order to use it, you're gonna have to convert whatever money you have left into their currency, and because of the next pandemic, whatever the case is, they're gonna get people right in line, right in lockstep to take whatever they're gonna give. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people is in line already to take it. They ain't got no hope in nothing else. There's a lot of people that don't even know that that's written in the Bible. So can you imagine?
But now I see why the Bible say many people were taken in the scripture, poor, rich, and poor, because they're like, no, I don't want to lose my car, I don't want to lose my house, I work for it. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, man. And this is why a lot of us, we're gonna have to start building the tolerance now, like as far as not being attached to these worldly things. Like, can't be attached to your car, you can't be attached to your home, you can't be attached to anything. You just got to be able to walk away from these things. I be seeing people taking their time in the morning, cleaning, dusting their cars, wiping it down, spraying it, making sure that thing is shiny. And I'm like, yo, what if you just drive up the block and somebody just crash right into it? Then what? You took all that time to make sure it was all nice and clean for it to be totaled. It's vanity. You know what I'm saying? This thing is all vanity.
That's true. And I have a question, Deacon. Maybe you can, because I just want to be clear because me personally, I live in an island, and I live tiny. And when it's time to prepare, or you have to run for something, how we can like endure, like for example, people in the islands, so we can endure with that when the chaos is coming.
Well, first of all, when that happens, you wanna make sure that you tapped in with your local body. Yeah, y'all have a body out there, right?
Not physical, but yes.
Okay, well, make sure that you are in contact with the leadership that's over your region. That's first and foremost. And I know that's Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, the most close is Puerto Rico. Yes,
Rico, right, with Bishop Khazak. Yes, great brother, great man, excellent teacher, right? You want to make sure that you are listening and following his directives. Whatever protocols the church is sending out, he's definitely going to have the information for that. And not just that, if you guys are in close proximity to each other, create a plan within each other, for each other, those who you live close by, right? Since it's like a handful of you guys on that island that's believers, and you guys fellowship, y'all have to come together and create a plan, worst case scenario. And at the end of the day, once you guys exhaust all your resources and exhaust your plan, guess what? Guess who steps in at that point? The Most High. So the Most High is still gonna guide you outside of whatever plan that you have anyways. But you just gotta stay the course. You gotta stay faithful. You gotta, what I'm saying? You gotta stay connected to the Most High. Don't let like it tells you in second Esdras chapter 16. Don't let your sins weigh you down, because the Most High is gonna be guiding those who are without sin, right? He's looking to guide those who's repentant or not complacent in their sins, not giving themselves an excuse to stay in sin. Because there's a difference between someone who's staying in sin and fighting sin. There's two different things. Okay, so a lot of things is gonna take place through your faith alone. So there's a lot of things that's gonna happen that you don't focus on these things. Focus on the right now. Focus on making a plan for the now, and whatever you can't foresee, that's where the Most High is gonna step in and supply the rest.
Understood. No, not like I'm being scared, but just in prepare. What can I do? Because like I said, it's a tiny island. Okay, now I know.
Yeah. Just like I said, stay connected with the bishop from Puerto Rico. Stay connected with the leadership there, and you guys who are together on that island, make sure you guys make a plan. Come together, speak about it, make a plan. Start making sure you guys have reserves, food, excess, right? At least 3 to 6 months worth. So that way you don't be caught out there scurrying and looking for food while people are going crazy, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
So yes. Oh yes, always be thank you. What I say, Most I thank you for this church, because if I didn't find this church, I will not be here. So probably dead. So I thank the Most High for this.
All praises to the Most High. That's your mom speaking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, how you doing? Shalom.
Shalom, brother.
All praises. Happy to see you.
All praises to the Most High.
All praises to the Most High. Yes. But yes. I like I said, I definitely encourage you guys who are in close proximity, even those you guys who are watching right now too, make a plan with people who's in your immediate area, right? Even though it's not going to be, if you may be in a city where it's just 2 or 3 of you guys or a couple of you guys, make sure you guys have a plan. And I'm pretty sure the leadership in your respective areas already have, a protocol and a plan set in place. Just stay grounded. Trust in your leadership, and allow them to lead you. Right.
Yes, sir.
All right, my brother.
Yeah, so also I want to say thank you to Elder Rawchaa.
Yes.
About the exercise, getting healthy. So that will answer the elders also.
Yes, yeah. Khan. Shout out to Elder Rawchaa, man. He be putting in that work in the gym, man, and he got them supplements too. So check him out too. Check out his supplement, his brand. He got some good products as well too, man.
And you know what, elders? Because I didn't have no money to afford the gym.
Yeah.
But I say in my mind, okay, I have no excuse. Let me do a gym in my house. There's no excuse. I can still do it in my house.
Yeah, you could get the push-ups on. You could do some sit-ups. You could do some pull-ups, some dips. Listen, man, you can create your own gym.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Oh, all right, Deacon.
All right, my brother.
Bless you. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom, Mom. All praises. All right. So there was somebody else who came in, but yeah, brothers, sisters, make sure y'all have a plan. Make sure you guys have a plan. All right, hold on. Make sure you guys have a plan. Don't just sit in the corner through what they say, twiddling your thumbs and saying, yeah, the Most High got me. But you got to make a plan.
Hello?
Shalom, Darius. Right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Shalom, how you doing, man? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from South Carolina.
Okay. What's going on, brother? Talk to me.
Nothing much, man. I just wanted to call in, and I just had a quick question about doctrine. As far as whenever Christ comes back, and because I know you was talking about how people's gonna have like the new bodies, and like other people's gonna have the old bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, the people that have the old bodies after Christ comes back, and the kingdom is set up, but aren't allowed inside of the kingdom, would those be the people that's going to be outside of the kingdom that has to come to the kingdom, year to year to celebrate the feast days?
No. Those people, all right. The people who where it tells you when we read it earlier in the book of Daniel, chapter 12, where it says some will be resurrected to everlasting life, and some will be resurrected to everlasting shame and contempt.
Mm-hmm.
Everlasting shame and contempt, meaning there is no reign for you.
Okay.
You're not even going to be able to partake in coming into the kingdom to present any gifts, because you're going to be tossed into the lake of fire.
Okay.
So
now,
that's the crazy part, because that's what they got to look forward to, is just damnation.
Yeah, so they just getting resurrected to be
judged,
condemned again.
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
That's the second death.
So then my question is, so where it says basically where people come to the gate and Christ will say, "I'll never knew you," depart from me.
Mm-hmm.
Would those people that he says that to, would those people be the people outside of the kingdom that has to come there year to year?
No, that's the same people that's going to be resurrected for judgment. It's the same people.
Okay, so same people.
The people. All right. So when you got to even look at it like this. I'll do this like this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Revelations, this is going to be real quick.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me go to the book of Revelations real quick. Where's my Bible at? Let me go to the Bible app real quick. All right, so in Revelations, let me put it on the screen. Revelations chapter 22. Right? Look at this. Revelation chapter 22, I'm gonna start at verse 14. And it says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life. So those who keep the commandments of the Most High will be the only ones to be able to be in to partake in the tree of life. and what? And may enter in through the gates into the city. So those who have been who've been repented, baptized for the remission of their sins, keep walking in the newness of life, keeping the commandments, they're the only ones who will be able to have right into the tree of life and to enter into the gates of the city. Right? And it also says,
I understand.
And it also says, hold on, where was I? Verse 15. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So now, what type of works is these? Aren't these punishments, aren't these acts worthy of death or punishable by death? So when it says that these are without, that means they're not even going to step foot. They're not even going to be able to see the ring. You're not even going to be able to come in to partake and give any gifts because you're going into the second death.
That makes sense. Now, so about that too. So, because like I said, I'm trying to get my the doctrine right as far as like the chronological order of the events that's going to happen. So we know Christ is going to come back. He's going to establish the kingdom. The resurrected is going to be resurrected. The righteous gets their new bodies and is able to enter the kingdom.
And they reign for 1,000 years with Christ.
Exactly. So the 1,000-year reign. Now, after that 1,000-year reign, we know that Satan's going to be loose for a little while to tempt the nations. So my question is, who is Satan tempting in that time? If we already know that the people that's allowed inside of the kingdom are uncorruptible, and it's not going, he's not going to be able to tempt them. Who is he going to be tempting at that time?
Okay, so now the question is, when it says trying to tempt the nations, who is he talking about? Those are you talking about Israelites? Are you trying to say Israelites, or are you talking about the Gentiles?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Gentiles that basically the Gentiles that, for at least from what I understand, the Gentiles that aren't Israelites, that aren't allowed in the kingdom but are staying on like the outside of the kingdom, if that makes sense. Like they can't come inside the kingdom.
Okay, and so are you saying that they will be burnt up or destroyed?
For the Gentiles that the Satan's able to tempt, or am I making myself clear? I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Let's go to the scripture, chapter and verse, real quick, because even if that's a talking point, that has nothing to do with the doctrine. I want you to make that. I want to make that clear. That's not a doctrinal issue. Wait. Matter of fact, let me just slow down real quick. What is the doctrine that you referring to? What's the doctrine of Christ?
Well, when I say doctrine, I'm meaning like as far as the events that are going to take place, in the chronological order, as taught by G.O.C.C.
No,
is what I'm trying
no. What's taught by G.O.C.C. is the doctrine. Hold on, real quick. The doctrine. What is the doctrine?
Well, you got to be baptized. No.
Where do you find the doctrine
of Christ? You got to follow the law, statutes, commandments. In the Bible, right?
Yeah, in the Bible, but where exactly?
I'm not. Doctrine of Christ in the Bible? Are you asking the verse, or?
Yeah. Do you know it? That's what I should ask you. Do you know it?
I'm not like I know like what the verse says, but I can't like go back and say what chapter and verse it is.
Let me help you. Hebrews 6:1, it says, therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Christ, let us go on unto perfection, not laying again the foundation of repentance from dead works, and of faith towards the Most High, of the doctrine of baptism, and of laying on of hands, and the resurrection of the dead, and the eternal judgment. This is what we do if the Most High permits. So that's the doctrine right there. This is what we talk about. We talk about baptism, laying on the hands for healing, repentance, and the eternal judgment. So that's what we got to worry about.
Okay.
So the Gentiles, or Satan being loose for 1,000 years, that has nothing to do with salvation.
Yes, that's correct.
So there's no point of speaking about something that has nothing to do with salvation. I mean, it's good information to want to know. I mean, there's a lot of
the reason.
But as far as salvation, as far as salvation goes, you shouldn't concern yourself with anything that has nothing to do with your soul salvation.
Yeah, I understand. I understand, Elder. I was asking that just because, whenever I'm trying to talk to, my Christian friends that aren't into the truth yet, and I kind of want to explain to them, there's not going to be a rapture. You got to endure to the end, like Christ said. When it comes to it ends up getting to the 1,000-year reign. And the different stuff that happens during that time, and that's why I was asking. All
right, so Darius, let me help you with this.
Okay.
When you speaking to your Christian friends, I know you got a Bible, right?
Not on me right now.
No. I'm saying, do you have a Bible? You do.
Oh yes, sir.
And when you speak to them, you have a Bible open, right?
Yes.
All right. So one quick fix to fix that whole rapture doctrine is to ask your Christian friends, can they show you the word rapture in the Bible?
That's
so
true.
Going into frivolous things like the 1,000-year reign, I mean, that's good things. That's like meat. But they need to understand that the rapture, the origin of the rapture doctrine. Do you know the origin of the rapture doctrine?
Yes, I've participated in an academy.
Okay, so praise the Most High. So all you got to do is just go into the history of that and show who created it. Even with the whole Left Behind movies, all of these things, it was created to deceive Christians. So what I want to tell you as well too is it's not your job to debate Christians as far as when it comes to salvation. Christ said, "Blessed are your eyes because you see. Blessed are your ears because you hear." All you got to do is just be a mouthpiece. And if they want to hear what you got to say, you know who they're going to hear? They're not going to hear Darius. They're going to hear Christ. So whatever Christ is uttering out of you, that's what they're going to listen to. And that's what's going to bring them to salvation. Not you proving the 1,000-year reign or proving, all of this other stuff. I mean, that's all, like I said, that's good information. But the doctrine has to be preached first. Salvation got to be preached first. And then that's when the Most High and Christ would come and open up their eyes to other and greater understanding to what you have. That's how it works.
I understand. I don't want to take up too much more time. I just wanted to say I appreciate everything you guys do. I will consider myself somebody that likes, not even likes. I love learning the truth. As far as history goes, I like to have the correct timeline. The order of events, how everything led up to the flood. Up until whenever Christ comes back and sets the world straight again. So I just kind of like having everything in a chronological order, in the most accurate information possible. From the different books, different books like the book of Enoch with the fallen angels and the book of Jubilees and stuff like that. So. I appreciate everything you do, though, Elder.
I'm a deacon. I'm a deacon. I'm not an elder.
Oh, you're a deacon. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, like I said, I'm not too versed in everything.
But let me help you with something though. Okay. It's all good to know the history, and I'm telling you this because this will stop you from getting into frivolous debates or arguments or disagreements because somebody may have something off when it comes to chronology.
Yeah.
Right? The most important thing of this walk, the reason why Christ woke you up and you was chosen, or the Most High chose to bring you back to him, was not for you to know everything as far as chronology. It's for you to get your soul in order for salvation, because that's what the Most High is really going to. He's not going to have us all stand in line and be like, all right, tell me the history from Adam to Christ.
Like a pop quiz. Yeah,
it's not going to be that, because when that day comes, everything is going to come into our remembrance anyways. He's gonna impart it into us, like how Christ did it with the disciples, how he opened up his eyes, revealing himself through the Old Testament, and they was illuminated, they was made aware. So that's gonna happen. So the things that we don't know, like Paul said, we all know in part. We all see through a glass dimly. So those things are not a requirement for salvation.
Understand?
You understand? So focus more so not on carnal things, but more so spiritual things. Like, do you have hate in your heart? Are you lusting? Do you covet? Do you have fornication in you? You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that you need to be really studying and repairing daily. And as you grow in the spirit and increase in the spirit, then the Most High will send more information to give you more ammo to support what you believe. That's how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
How old are you?
Thank you. I'm 27.
Okay. All right. You're not that young. You're not that old.
Yeah, it's an awkward age, man. I mean, as far as finances go, you still kind of, you're not at the age where you got.
I know.
You're not at the age, where you got your finances. You got a big bank account with a bunch of savings and investments and stuff. And it's a weird. It's just a weird age.
No, I mean, it could be weird, but you in the right place because you got the Most High. Christ said, "What? Seek ye first the kingdom, and everything else will be added." So you be high.
Yes, sir.
Know what I mean? Well, great talking to you, though, man.
Yes. Same to you, Deacon. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right, shalom. All right, all praises. Yeah, man, we got like I said, I love going into history and finding out deep mysteries, but what's the point of knowing all of that? And at the end of the day, your soul is like in question. You know what I mean? So we gotta allow the Most High to work in our lives and give us more understanding and give us wisdom, all these things. Because I get what the brother's talking about. Chronology can make and break your whole thesis if you're speaking to somebody. You know what I mean? It'll trip you up. But praise the Most High, though. Praise the Most High for everybody who called in. Well, the two people that called in, bless y'all, right? But that's what is this? That's the show. That's the show in a nutshell. And I'm happy that I was able to serve before y'all, and you guys rocked with us, and edification was brought out, and understanding was given. But praise the Most High. That's my time here. I'm your host, Deacon Hazak, here on the Born of Levi Experience on G.O.C.C. Media. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Stay prayed up and sin not, right? Have a blessed day tomorrow. Have a great Sabbath as well too. And let's keep on pushing. Let's keep on working towards salvation, because we see it's at the door. We see the world changing. We're actually living. We're living it out. We're living what the prophets and the disciples and the teachers, what they've seen, what they were told. We're living it, and we're seeing the change rapidly happen. So, brothers and sisters, this is a wonderful time. This is a beautiful time to be alive right now. Don't be afraid. Stand firm in Christ so we can see Zion, right? So bless you all. May the Most High and Christ be with you all. Amen. So be it. Shalom. Peace. See y'all in the next one.